Hi, I'm Ivy, and I'm from India, from southern India, of a state called Tamil Nadu. And I did my schooling basically in India, and I did 2 years of my undergraduation in India. And then my dreams to move abroad and study, as I was a smart student, I wanted to pursue, but my father was just an agriculturist and didn't have that much money to pay for my education abroad. So my only opportunity was to win a scholarship, and so I was preparing myself with all kinds of exams to win a scholarship, and I got into an Ivy League college, and then finally went into Montpelier College where I did my undergraduation, and then went to University of Massachusetts to do my master's. And I was probably 22 at that time, and that's when I left India in a way for good, and only went back to visit family and friends and places that I haven't seen in India when I was less than 21. And then moved to the US and kind of studied there and got a job there. My first job was with Ciba Geigy at Kansas, and worked there for almost a year, and then worked at University of Kansas too for some time, and got married to Babu, who was my college mate, and chased me quite a bit to marry him. And I said, okay, finally I said yes to him and got married, and we moved to Dubai because we thought he wanted to come to the US and we couldn't make it, and his exams, GRE exams, got cancelled that year. And I said, okay, what's the next thing we do to be together? And we decided he got a job in Dubai, and we said, okay, then that's where we're going to go. And I found a job immediately too, and I was working for some time in a school over there, a privileged school for the sheikhs. So it was like I had 3 students in a classroom, and that was it. And all the privileged people studied there, and so I worked there for almost 10 years, and my daughter was born and raised there. And then we said, okay, now time to move on now. And it was a great place, it was the best of East and West in a way, Dubai was. But education-wise, everybody moves out of Dubai when it comes to college. And I said my daughter should have a head start with education and better lives for ourselves, not just for my daughter. And then we said, okay, we're going to move. And I was obviously thinking of US because I had US qualifications. I know I can get a job quickly there. And but then when I was there in 1986 to whenever, there was a lot of racism going on, and even there was a lot of trains where only the blacks even traveled over there. And I didn't want my daughter exposed to that. I didn't know things had changed, but then at that time it wasn't. And I said, and I had visited Toronto and Montreal and other places in the East, and I said, okay, people are so much more friendly here, and there's so much more less racism over here. And that was my key decision to move to Canada. Then the decision to move to the West Coast was simply because of the weather, and I had my colleague's uncle who lived here, and I was communicating with him, and he said this is a great place to raise a kid in.
Has it been here before?
No, not to Vancouver actually, no. I just heard about this from one Mr. Jaya, and they were such awesome people and helped us settle, and he made me realize what it is to have someone to be there for you, and like just landing up in a country where you didn't know anybody, and someone who doesn't know anything about you and just reached out for you. He picked us up, he took us to his home for a meal, and rest of the years to date he's been helping us with many things, and he was a great example for us to say this is how you reach out to somebody else who's come new, and we have done that. There are many people who have come from different parts of India as well as the Middle East and in other countries, our friends who have decided to move here, and some of them have given our references to them, and they all have come here, and we have helped many families settle here, some of them supporting them by helping them stay in our house. By then we had found good jobs, and honestly speaking, I didn't have a problem finding a job here. I landed up in November 19th, and December 1st I had a job with Douglas College. So I wasn't even prepared to work in 15 days, and that was my first job, and I worked there for almost a year. And then I joined another environmental company, and eventually I became owner of that company, and I still own that business, and with two other partners, and I'm doing great.
That's great.
Since then,
What's
yes.
your field?
I'm a chemist. I'm an organic chemist, and I do environmental sciences, which is basically giving services to the mining industry. So that's where I am today.
So without
And
knowing, you picked the right place to be, huh?
yes, absolutely. And Dubai didn't give me an opportunity to excel in my career because it's very limited. They are mostly a trading place, and that's not where my expertise lies. And that way, it was great for me to come here to reuse all my education and my knowledge in the area of my expertise. So that was absolutely awesome. So to get into the mining industry, yes, so I still am doing that. So.
That's great. Well, it wasn't that you were looking for in the first place when you came, right? When you decided to move?
No, I was ready to do anything. That's one thing all immigrants have to be prepared for. Be prepared to do anything, and there is no such thing as a job that's not good enough for you. Every job teaches you some skill, something, interaction with people. When you move from one to another, there are some set of skills you always learn, but you don't learn everything unless you start from wherever it is. So don't be afraid to go back. Yes, you might have been a great engineer and you might have worked in a very big company and come here, but be prepared to go back 5 steps to move forward 8 steps. That preparedness is very, very important, and that's where most immigrants find it frustrating, thinking that I have gone back in your career. But that's just 2 steps to move 4 steps forward. So look at it as a very small price you have to pay to move forward. And this land is having so much opportunities. It's knocking on your door every day. You just have to visualize that and take that forward, and that's up to you, right? And there's always a support group, and yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yes.
And it's easier to see when we already overcome all of this. But
yes.
It's good for newcomers to hear this, right?
Yes, exactly.
It will get better.
And don't be afraid to requalify yourself. There are great programs here giving you, financial support. The government is willing to give you that, and you can repay that in your own time. And don't be afraid to face those challenges. And once you have cross that, it's nothing but honey all the way, So that is I have not known anyone who has come here and has done badly. So you're next in line, that's all.
True. But what do you think that could, I know that there are a lot of challenges when you come. Maybe you didn't experience a lot of challenge like finding a job or so, but adapting to the culture, like being included to the community.
Yes.
And so do you think you faced any challenge in this way, adapting maybe to the weather also?
Yes.
And if so, like what was the challenge? What were the challenges that you faced?
I come from a multicultural background. My mother's Irish, my dad is an Indian. And so I did not face that really, but I do see people who come with mindset, and that is where you have to open up your mind and say, acceptance is very, very important. So that comes from your upbringing. So yes, all of us are brought up in a certain way, which is fine, but be willing to be a little more open and accepting with other religions. Once you get stuck up with your ideologies and this is what is right, then you're not moving forward. So I would say, learn to change yourself a little bit about acceptance and tolerance, right? That's what will get us through. That's one message I would give for sure. So be open to anything and be more accepting, be more tolerant. You are now in a mixed culture, cultural environment, mixed religions, and no religion is teaching you to be a bad person.
You already mentioned before about the racism, that you were afraid for your daughter to be true, like if you moved to the US instead of Canada, and you decided to come to Canada, just one of the reasons was this. And how do you feel about that, like after going through like 20 years of immigrating here? Did you feel any any situations that you feel racist here, or no, you felt like very included all the time? And
I felt very included, I have to say that. And I mean, our friends are from different communities and different religions and different parts of the country, and I have made so many friends along the way, all nations. And I think it depends on you yourself to make that work for you, right? If you're open to them, then they're open to you. So it goes two ways. So openness is the key to that. So you open yourself and you'll be amazed at how many beautiful people are around you.
It's a very good message.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have
And don't
any
be
other-
afraid to ask for help. Everybody, I have not known a single person in Canada who you ask a question and who's turned away, even if it is a simple thing as direction on the street. So there are always people willing to help you, and don't be afraid to ask if nobody's approaching you and you don't find something. Be open to finding friends and make friends and along the way, and ask questions and ask for help. And I don't know anyone who will say no to that. So
Yeah, it's
you can
true.
reach me too for help.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we are heading to the end of the interview. And do you have any other message you feel like spreading to your neighbors, like to your community, in the sense that we should welcome all people, newcomers, and everybody to our little world?
Yes, actually there is a website already. Like, we live in the Burke Mountain foothills, and there is a website for all people to interact and include yourself in all those activities. That's my message to you, right? Be open and look for what is around you, and talk to people, and don't be afraid, and get to know your neighbors. Spend some time, take some time out. So when you take that time out and meet people, you'll be amazed how much help can come forward to you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much.
It's all there in place. We just have to look for it and accept it.
It's so true. It's so true.
Right, yeah.
And be patient, right?
Exactly.
At the beginning,
I mean,
it's a little bit challenging, but
Yeah.
you will get there.
Yes, language can be a problem, but again, there are free ESL classes that are being given, and you can go register and get yourself trained. And the more you talk to people, then more you're not thinking in your own language, and you're forced to speak in another language. So do that.
It's true too. Okay, to finish up, the name of the project is Nice to Meet You, and
Yeah.
I would like, if you can, to speak in your own language, your mother tongue, or some language that you feel comfortable with, saying this message to us. Nice to
உங்களை சந்திச்சதுல மிக மகிழ்ச்சி.
Okay. Thank you so
Very
much.
happy to meet you. That's what it means.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
for
here.
giving us this opportunity.